Okay guys, welcome to a brand new feature which hopefully you're going to enjoy. Now before I start, I've got to give credit to one of my subscribers, SuperWizball. I did ask in my mashup earlier this week, or I should say last week, just going, you know, if anyone's got any kind of ideas for sort of like new features, and he came up with an idea about looking at the sort of like 10 games from a year, a specific year. He says, you know, particularly the better games, and maybe look at a few of the crap games. So what I'm going to do, guys, it's going to be one of these organic things. I'm just going to kind of play it as it comes, see how it evolves. Now what I've done is I've gone back basically as far as possible in sort of video game history. Now Space Invaders is pretty much the first game that I can certainly remember, and you know, the games before that, I mean, I was looking at MAME, and there's maybe a handful of games that came out before 1978, so I'm going to use 1978 as a sort of starter. So today's one is going to be 1978. So what I've done, guys, is I'm just going to concentrate on arcade games. Maybe once we get sort of into the 80s, then we'll start looking at some home versions, but all I'm going to do is play 2 games of each game. I can just talk as I'm playing it. Now there doesn't appear to have been anything such as like the top 10 games for a specific year. Probably as we get into the home computers they may exist, but for the purpose of the first few of these videos, it's just going to be looking at 10 games that I can sort of remember where possible for each year. So this is 1978. Now I've not even thought of a name for it. I'm thinking of calling it that was the year that was. How's that? I know that's probably ripping a TV programme off. I came up with another couple which were a bit rude, so I think we'll go with that was the year that was. So anyway guys, this is that was the year that was, 1978. Now this is the first game. It's called, I think it's just called Bowling. It came out, I believe, in 1978, and you can see there it's based on 10-pin bowling. So let's just crack on with it. Going in, okay, wait a minute, are we starting? Right, now I've had a quick wee shot of this just to figure out if it's actually playable or not, because some of these really early games, they're not playable. And I notice here what you can do is you press the button, you can hook. If you see down the bottom here, you can go to hook or straight. So let's just go for a hook to try and... Hey, there doesn't appear to be any sound. Well, there is one noise which it makes, which is quite annoying. Whoops. Now we could have certainly used a little bit of sound when you smash the balls. Now I'm actually using the mouse control for this. Now I don't know. I'm guessing it probably was mouse controlled, given the fact that it doesn't seem to respond to a joystick. Now for the purpose of this game, this particular one, I'm only going to go for one game, because it actually lets you play all 9, I was going to call it ends, what do you call it, 9, is it 9 or 10 rounds, what do you call it, I can't even remember the name. I'm not a big 10-pin bowling. 10-pin? No, that's because there's 10 pins. Or maybe it's 10 rounds. Whatever it is you actually get. Oh, that was shite. Yeah, it's surprisingly it's surprisingly sort of, I wouldn't say advanced, you know, for a game so old. I mean, the graphics are obviously black and white, which you would expect for something. Let's just go for a straight, so it should go straight through the middle. Hey, there we go, strike. Strike! Oops, I'll change that to hook. I should probably just go for strike again. Yeah, it's not a bad wee game, considering, you know, the age of it. Now I was looking to see if I could include any computer games for 1978, but there doesn't appear to be any. I mean, home computers back in 1978 were almost non-existent. There may have been some computers that were available, but I certainly didn't. I don't have any. So I think for the purpose of the first few years anyway, we'll just stick with arcade games. Whoops, now I noticed there it seemed to swing all over the place. You could certainly do with some sound, but in fact I'll let you hear the sound, the only sound I've actually noticed. There you go, foul, shoot again. Right, so in other words, if you go across that line, like in real 10-pin bowling, you commit a foul. Wait a minute, have I somehow started a 2-player game? Bowler 149, now bowling. Don't tell me I've started a 2-player game. Look, you know what, doesn't matter, we're actually up to frame 7. I don't think I have. Aye, I don't believe this game is actually converted for any home systems, probably because there was no home systems around. Now, when did the Atari 2600 come out? That may have been 1978. I think I first played it in 1979. Yeah, this game would get pretty boring pretty quick. But certainly the lack of sound doesn't exactly help the cause any. Now, I don't know what the wee cup of tea thing is, or the bottle of beer. Now bowling, it's got a wee kind of player 2 or number 2, you can see, whoops, you can see there's a, bugger off, I didn't even touch the thing. You can see there's a little pint of beer, so I don't know what's going on there. Straight, push 1 for hook, so why is it not going straight? Whoops, that's better. Aye, just imagine if all games are still like this. Somehow I couldn't see video games taking off if this was what we were still playing. But you know what? I'm not going to ridicule the games in this feature, because at the end of the day, you know, everything has to start somewhere. Hey, strike! No, it wasn't a strike, it was a spare, because I'd already, I don't know what happened. I think because I missed with my first shot. Right, straight through the middle again, or maybe not. And second thoughts, I'll just go straight into the gutter on the right, on the left. Right, anyway, that is bowling, I think you call it. Let's crack on. Right then, our second game for 1978 is Fire Truck. Now this is one of the probably more well-known games from back then. Just try to see if the screen's cut off at the bottom, it doesn't matter. Right, now like I said guys, I don't know if all these games are going to be playable, so let's just batter right in and see. Hey, it uses the mouse. Fantastic. Superb. I can actually, believe it or not, I can remember playing this. Whoa! Right, what's going on here? I seem to be doing a bit of a... Ah, come on, I didn't even touch that. I just feathered it, so I'm guessing I need to try and take it easy. Is there a time limit? Crunch! Now this machine, I believe, we can Google it, came in a big I think it was a kind of sit-down driving game, complete with steering wheel. So it was outrun of its day. I like the little arrow is good enough to tell you what way to go. Now I don't know if I'm missing. Fantastic. Oops, there we go, that's the first game. Let's batter in. One more credit. Start. Pressing that button makes a funny noise. I wonder if I've got to pick these things up. Right, let's just try and not crash. That would be a good start. Let's try to go and pick that thing, whatever it is, up. Whoa, 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 sweet child of mine, stay away from there. Whoa, dearie me. Got a jackknife going on there. Oil. I know it's oil because it says oil on it. Come on, straighten up. Why does it not want to straighten up? Ah, now this track has changed slightly. Whoa. This is actually quite impressive for its time. I mean, the smoothness, the scrolling is super smooth. I was going to say it handles quite well. You know, I'm sure using a joystick, not a joystick, a steering wheel, it would have been even nicer. But it actually plays pretty well with the mouse. It's just I'm a bit rubbish. Ah, right, fuel is going down. You can see there. So it looks like I'm going to run out of fuel here. Let's see if I can pick up any. Ah, that's it. Game over. There we go. Excellent. That's Fire Truck. Okay, guys, this is Super Breakout. Now I think that was by Atari. Hopefully it will use. Yay, it does. How do we serve? Now I've got to say it actually plays pretty well with the mouse, not the mouse, the trackball. Oh, it actually moves down, so it's almost like a precursor to Space Invaders, slightly. Except the bullet that you fire bounces about the screen. Now, I was just about to say that there's a severe lack of power-ups, but then we're talking about Super Breakout, which had no such thing. Right, it's going to start getting hard now. I mean, this game, I'm not quite sure what the super, did that just bring in colour possibly? Bloody hell, that's difficult. 108. Yeah, I mean, Breakout was one of the first games. Is it going to auto-serve? What's going on? Is that it? Alright, no, we're not dead yet. Yeah, Breakout was one of the first games to come out. And I'm guessing this was the sequel, Super Breakout. Right, let's go for one more game. Let's see if we can take out all the greens. Is it going to start? Oh, there's that! You arse. It's trying to catch me out, and it managed. Come on. Come on, ball. Come on. See, try that again. Little crafty game. Now I'm wondering, you can see there when the ball passes through on the sort of left and right of the screen, you'll see the little borders are different colours, and you'll see the ball changes colour depending on when it passes through. So I'm guessing the arcade game of this had the cellophane colour things. Right, listen guys, that's two games, and you can see there my bat was in blue because it's got a little coloured strip. So anyway, that is Super Breakout. Okay, this is Clowns. Yep, these funny makeup people that you get at circuses who scare the bejesus out of everybody who sees them. Now you can see here it looks like some sort of circus type game. Now, I notice it's got the same, so it's using the it's using the same sort of text. Bloody hell. It's not easy, folks. Ah. Oh my god, that is probably the quickest I've died in any arcade game ever. High score 10. Let's put... We might actually have more than one game or more than 2 games at this one. Jesus God. Right, come on. It's just virtually the same as Ugh. It's just another take on Breakout when you actually look at it. Except it's 10 times more difficult. You can see there, guys, it's got the little strips going across. So basically these monitors were just black and white. You can see there, black and white. And it was a little cellophane strips that went across the screen. Right, let's go for one more game of this. 2-player game. That'll be interesting. Pow! Hey. We've come a long way, folks, that's for sure, in video games. So these kids that think Call of Duty was always here, this is what we had to play back in 1978. Hey! I'm in the money. That was a very common tune for some reason that was used in video games. You tend to find that most of the tunes that were used in very early video games were music that was no longer under copyright, which is why there was always a lot of classical sort of ditties used in video games. Hey! I'm absolutely caning this now. The sound's not bad. Right guys, that's clowns. Let's move on. Right, okay, this is Atari football. Now, football in the States is obviously American football. I know roughly the rules of American football. You can see there, it was obviously, am I right in thinking this is 2-player only? Don't know, let's see if we can put what's happened here. I'm trying to figure out, select play. Alright, I haven't a clue. Alright, is that putting time in? Right, okay, putting coins in seems to add time. Right, okay, I seem to be... you know what, I think this is... I'm thinking this is 2-player only. So it's going to be pretty impossible to actually play this thing. Obviously, one of them's the offense, one of them's the defense. Don't know, can't you see what I'm doing here? You are defense, right? Okay, so I can pick. Right, you can see at the top there. It's showing me what move. Oh, it's not what move, I can't remember what they call, what the correct terminology is in American football. Select play, bomb, down and out, sweep. Right, let's go for that. Right, so you're going to get the play going here, I think. This actually, you know what, this probably wouldn't be such a bad little game. If you were actually playing it properly. Right, anyway, listen, I'm not going to waste any more time with that one because it needs 2 players, but that is Atari football. Let's batter on. Right, the next game for 1970 is Blasto. Now, I do apologise guys in advance. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the games underneath so you can see who actually made them. I'm not too sure offhand. It seemed to be that Atari made the lion's share of games back in the day, so Press start. Hit all mines for free game. Oh! Now you never ever got that kind of option. Right. Kaboom. Now I'm this little ah, bollocks. I also died in the blast. Can I shoot these? Oh, I can. So wait a minute, what's to stop me just blasting things like so? The idea of the game appears to be to clear all the mines. Now I've only got... Ah, right, okay, so it's just a... It's actually a fairly simplistic game. And you can see there, obviously there's a bit of a... What do you call it? Chain reaction. If one bomb gets affected with the other one, then they all kind of go off. I've never, yeah, what I was saying is I've never seen a video game offer you a free game if you achieve a certain level. That's quite an interesting concept for the back in the day. So I could take him out. Oh bollocks, I was hoping he was going to... Right, now I know what I'm doing, I'm going to give it a better crack. Now I'm guessing you're either a plane or you're a crossbow. Right, okay, let's go. Let's go for one more. Oh, that was a bit lucky. Right. Whoops. Let's I'm running out of time. It's not as easy as it looks. I mean, it's easy enough to manoeuvre, but it's the movement is character based. It's not really smooth, but you know what? This isn't a bad little game. It's probably a game I'm guaranteed that not one of you have ever played before. I've certainly never played it in my life. You know what? If you want to improve your knowledge of and heritage of of video games, then look no further. Right, you've got 10 seconds, so it's game over. Excellent, that's Blasto. Let's crack on. Okay guys, right, this is Frogs. Now you probably notice the screen's a bit on the wee side. In fact, I'm going to zoom in for this game. Because it's actually got really nice sort of background graphics. The game's probably pish, but anyway. Catch Dragonfly. Now I'm sure I can remember seeing this game in the arcades. Right, so you can move. Ah, you got to jump. Hey, there we go. You basically move left and right, and you fire, or you stick your tongue out using the. Come on, you sod. Hey! You can't see me turning mid-air. The movement's not actually too bad. But this is what they did in some of the early games. They just used detailed backdrops, which kind of helped to enhance the sort of atmosphere of the game. Now, compared to the other games I've looked at so far, this has actually got no bad sound. And I'm thinking this has got the same, now no pun intended, the same flaw. I was going to say bug, meaning no pun intended. The same odd thing is the fact that when you fall into the water, when a frog falls into the water, it's game over. Now, it appears to be that it's only video game frogs who can't actually Game over. Right, let's go for one more. See, there you go. Catch dragonflies for free games. So again, it was the same as Blasto. You actually got the chance to win yourself a free game. Come on, you sod. Ah, bugger. I mean, the game itself is fairly simplistic. It's probably the kind of game that could have easily been ported to one of these LCD handheld things. Come on, this time. Damn it. I'm just not quick enough with my tongue. Stop the laughing at the back. This time, I will have you. Now, I don't know if you actually do lose lives, or I can see there's a time limit, 26 seconds. Now, I'm guessing that this, the sort of backdrop to this was just an overlay, because you can see there the actual graphics are all just white. Ah, balls. When you actually jump, you move forward as well. I think it's going to be game over. 4 seconds to go. One more. No. Happy frog. Right guys, that is frogs. Let's move on. Okay, this is a blue shark, as you can see there, made by Taito. Now, what the hell am I actually doing here? Wait a minute, I haven't a clue what I'm... Ah! Right, now oddly, okay. I control... It appears I control a sort of harpoon thing, but the only movement you can do isn't left, it's only left and right. You can see the blue crosshair thing at the top. There's quite a few games like this. There's Sub Hunt or something, I'm sure. Quite simplistic little shooter type things. Quite nice little bits of animation, I must admit. There's a swordfish. Kill the scuba diver. Now, I was going to put this on full screen, but I thought I would give you the full effect of the actual bees all around it. It's actually quite nice. I'm sure this game is probably super rare nowadays. I'm sure they probably go for silly money. Very simplistic, but you know, that was what we had. And of course, video games in 1978 were all going to be revolutionised with the arrival of one particular game, which I'm sure you could probably guess. Let's go for one more shot of that. I did say I'd play two games. I'm not quite sure the big rumble at the start means. Quite a nice sort of firing sound, though the actual noise when you hit a fish is a bit rubbish. Although saying that, I don't suppose you get a noise when you hit a fish with a bullet, do you? Probably not. Like any mushy squelching sound maybe. Scuba dive. Did I just lose points there? I think I did. I think I just lost points, so you don't want to shoot scuba divers. Let's see if that's the case. No, he's disappeared. Yep, I think I just lost points, so if you do get the inclination to play this game, guys, then don't shoot scuba divers because you lose points. Yeah, I couldn't imagine shoveling too much money into this type of game, even back in 1978. Oh, it's getting tricky now. going very tricky now. There's that Amako shark, obviously, it's going really quick. Right guys, that is Blue Shark. I'll just pan out to let you see the bezel. It's all very, very nice by Taito. Right, let's batter on. Right guys, I'm going to leave this one panned out as well. I'll move it in a wee bit just so you can see the game getting played. But it's got a rather nice, really nice decals around it. This is Sprint, I think this was by Atari actually. Right, I'll zoom in so you can see the game. Yeah, now, to be honest, this game and the very last game, which I shall be looking at in 2 minutes, these are the only two games that I can remember playing back in the day. That shows you how old I am. The other ones, the first 8 games that I've looked at, I certainly can't remember it. Now I remember playing this. How do you accelerate? Right, okay. Now, it has to be said, it plays not too bad. I'm the white car. Now this thing actually came, I'm sure you could get 4-player versions of it. The only ones that I ever played, there was the shows that used to come to my sort of hometown, and they used to always have this. Now we thought this was amazing, we really did. Whoa, has the triangle's changed? I think it has. Yeah, we thought this was absolutely amazing. It had proper steering wheels, but they were super twitchy. I mean, there was no like force feedback or anything like that back then. But you know what, we really felt when you're only, what, I don't know, what age would I be? 10? 7, 8, yeah, I would be 11 years old. You really felt like you were driving a car because you were using a steering wheel and this thing was moving. This was a car you were controlling. Unfortunately the shows never came. I think only came once a year. Now, I don't remember the track changing like that, but you know what, I'm sure they must have. But it's stupidly difficult. I couldn't even imagine trying to play this using a joystick. And you seem to kind of get sucked into the wall when you hit it as well. Ah, bugger off. I like how when they ram you, the computer cars ram you, you're the one that goes spinning off, and they just carry on their merry way. Yeehaw! And if you look, I think they all take the exact perfect line, the perfect racing line. This game actually reminds me very much of a game. There was a series of games that were actually handheld called Pocketeers. They came out probably before arcade games, and they were all basically simple little games. And they had one, I think it was called Sprint actually. Right, let's go for one more shot of this, guys. A second go. See if I can get a. Now that's me holding the fire button down from the start, and you can see there that your acceleration isn't quite as good as the computer controlled cars. Now I'm going to see if I can do better than I did last time, which wouldn't be very difficult. And so that's a bit sneaky, changing the track mid race. Oh, bugger off. It's bloody hard enough without these guys ramming into the back of you like so. Outrun has got nothing in this. You can just see just how far computer games came, even in like 10 years. Now I know what you're thinking, why don't you just push your way through the wall? I don't think you could actually do that. I don't think it's possible to cheat like that. Although I'm tempted to give it a bloody shot. Oh! bollocks. See, one thing though, you kind of got a bit more value for money than you do. Well, I was going to say currently. I mean, you don't have arcade games now, but I mean, I don't know what. It's still 35 seconds. Although saying that, 10 pence back in 1978 was a hell of a lot more than it was even probably 10 years later. Ah, bugger off. But yeah, we absolutely loved this game. And looking at it now, you're probably thinking, you must have been off your head. But these were the only video games that we actually had. £10 points per lap. Damn it. Right, I think that's coming up to the end of the second game. That is Sprint. There we go. Or is that Sprint too? No, it's Sprint. That is just Sprint, that one. Right guys, let's look at the last one. Okay, this one needs absolutely no introduction. There's different versions of this, and for some strange reason I couldn't find the Taito original. This is one by Logitech, but there was multiple versions of this back in the day, but this is the classic Space Invaders, which I'm sure you'll all recognise. Now, one thing that I've noticed with Space Invaders and MAME, and it's the sound, the firing sound isn't what I remember it to be. Now, I don't know whether it's just my mind playing tricks or whether I am indeed correct, but like I said, this is a sort of bootleg version, which, you know, it's identical apart from maybe the sound. I mean, that's exactly the same. Now, the first time I ever saw this game was in Craigswood Sports Centre. I used to go up and do judo, and they had this game, and to be honest with you, I was more interested in getting to have a shot of this than I was doing judo. Ah, come on, you know what, I just moved right into that. I could see it coming, and I'm a twat. Now, one of the popular techniques is moving in very quickly, shoot and move out. No smirking at the back, thank you very much. This is a child friendly channel, and I'll not have any of these kind of innuendos. But yeah, I played this, you know, it's really hard for anybody who wasn't there to fully understand just how iconic, not even how iconic, how important this game was. You know, this was the first video game. You know, there was nothing had gone before this game, and you know, especially, I mean, I was obviously in the UK, and it was just a magical thing. You know, here was a TV that you could actually interact with, and you know, you would used to sit and you would stand and watch other people playing the game. It's incredible, and people who could get extra men, you know, they were always, you wanted to be them. I can always remember you had like 10 pence, and you'd always get some guy who was bigger than you, and would always say, "Oh, can I have your last man?" We didn't call them lives, it was man. Can I have your last man? And 9 times out of 10, you gave him your last man because he was going to kick the shit out of you basically if you didn't do that. So that's, you can see my skills are a bit rusty. But this game was probably solely, well, I wouldn't say solely responsible. It was definitely, yeah, you know what, I'm going to say it was. I would say this game is solely responsible for the whole video game thing just kicking off. I mean, you've probably heard all the, I don't know whether it's an urban myth or not, that apparently Japan ran out of yen coins because of this game. It was just such a massive game, and people couldn't get enough of it. I mean, the terrifying bassy sound of these guys marching down the screen, it's just iconic. I'll need to have a look to see if I can get if there is a better version of this available in MAME that has the proper shooting sound, because whoa. Now what you don't want to do is what I'm doing here, wasting bullets. I'm going to zoom in just a tad. You know what, I've just zoomed in now, you can't see the bloody ship. That's a twat. Now me pissing about with the camera has probably cost me my game. If I can escape this, I'll eat my hat. Ah, balls. There we go, what was the score? 2,970. Let's go for one more go. I did say two games per game. Let's see if I can beat my high score. Now, if you want to be really smart, this is what all the cool kids did. You count your shots. There's actually somebody sussed out that if you count the number of shots you fire, and I think it is on your 23rd shot that you fire, the UFO that comes out is worth 300 points, because it's a random amount of points it's worth. But if you count the first, it's either 23 or 25 shots, and you kill the UFO on your 23rd shot. That was rubbish. Yeah, if you kill the UFO on your 23rd shot, it's worth 300 points. Then I think every 11 shots thereafter, it's worth 300 points. So if you want to maximise points, the thing you need to understand about this game, you will never beat it. So clearing a screen just gives you them even quicker. It's such an amazing game though, it really is. I mean, the Space Invaders, I would guarantee there's a lot of people, a lot of kids probably don't know what Space Invaders are, but they would certainly recognise the little guy at the bottom of the pack. None of these, maybe the one nearest to me waving his arms up and down, but certainly the sort of front row Space Invaders. Ah, dearie me, that is unacceptable. For some reason it's always easier when he's moving from right to left. I don't know quite why that is. I don't know if he moves a bit slower. If you've not played Space Invaders in a long time, then I suggest you go and fire it up. It's a brilliant game. And you can never claim to be a proper retro gamer if you've never played Space Invaders. Ah, rubbish. Now, obviously I need to make sure I take these guys out, because they're going to be advancing far too quick. If I don't, now I'm doing something silly here, I'm shooting through my bases. which is suicide, because you never know when these guys are going to drop a bullet in your head. You want to try and, where possible, leave them clumped in little groups like so, because if you start leaving gaps then it just gets very, very difficult and they get to the edge of the screen a lot quicker. I'm going to die if I do that, because I'm a twat. There you go. That was silly. Anyway guys, listen, that's the last one. I think I have done them all. Breakout, Clowns, Frogs. Yep, that is a lot. That is 10 games. And this is that was the year. What was it? That was the year that was. You know, I can't even remember the name of the title. I'll need to think about it, and you'll see it at the top of this video. Thanks to SuperWizball for the suggestion. I think it's quite a good. I think it's a great idea actually. It gives me an opportunity to play different games, and it gives you guys an opportunity to see a bit of history of video games. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed watching it. Please leave your comments. Let me know what you think of this. Obviously it's a new feature. If you don't like it, please tell me and I'll stop doing them. But what I'm planning to do is make one of these, one a week, and it's going to go up obviously year on year sort of thing. So next week is going to be 1979. So as usual guys, I hope you enjoy watching it, and I'll catch you soon.